Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Orange County. We're so glad that you decided to join us today. And we always like to begin our service by affirming our mission and our vision statement. Here at Unity of Orange County, our vision is centered in divine love. We joyfully co-create a world that works for all. And our mission is to awaken, inspire, and transform lives. And I'd like to thank all the people that are here today to help us do our service. We have Bill on piano. Thank you, Bill. And Tom is doing sound. Matthew is on camera. John is running the video. Christopher is our prayer platform person, and we have a special guest today, Shanice Hardy, who's going to do a little announcement about an upcoming event. So we have a class coming on August 26th, which is Wednesday, the Divine Audacity. It will be meeting from 6:30 to 8, and this class will deepen your prayer list. The Zoom number is 862-3646-8138. And we are having a book study today, and that is on the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. This is a great little book. I'm just going to read you a little quote. We're actually going to read the book. And here's a quote. It says, "Isn't it odd? We can only see our outsides, but nearly everything happens on the insides." So book is like filled with all these little wisdom things. And then we also have on Thursday the 27th from 6:30 to 8, there's going to be a workshop, Writing Your Legacy. And I would like to invite Shanice to talk to us about that.
Good morning, Unity community. I am so grateful to be here and to invite all of you to join us on our continual evolution of our spiritual development at Unity. And this Thursday, and actually the next 2 Thursdays, we are going to be delving into the work of Writing Your Legacy. And this is facilitated by Diane Lukic, who has years of guided autobiography experience. And in this workshop, it's really an exploration of honoring the roots of our ancestors and affirming the gifts that they've given to us, and also affirming the gifts of the legacy, which is our blessing to future generations. We're going to explore doing some meditation, some guided visualization, and some guided creative prompting, which the path of creativity for me is my biggest passion. And Diane is just such a talented facilitator, really giving us questions to share and to discuss, and to really, we're going to be panning for gold of those moments of our lives that we want to bring to light. So I invite you, it's this coming Thursday, and it's actually 4 to 5:30, because we really want to open it to people who are a little bit more clarion earlier in the day, and the following Thursday at 4 to 5:30 on Zoom. After that, starting as September comes, we're going to be delving into It's Never Too Late to Begin. And during these uncomfortable times, we really want you to ignite your sense of wonder and to ask yourself, what's next? What's next? And to kindle your creative fire and redefine what you are here to be and do. So Julia Cameron, who did The Artist's Way, does a great job giving us some practices and some tools that we will commit to in the community and supporting each other to be all that God created us to be and to shine the gifts that only you can shine. So I really invite you. That starts the 27th, 4 p.m., 5:30 p.m., same bat channel on our Unity Zoom. It's never too late to begin. You don't have to have these books, but you do have to be willing. And as Maya Angelou says, the legacy that we have are the lives that we've touched, and I invite you to start sharing your legacy. Thank you so much, Unity. Thank you. And I'm going to pass it off to Christopher now.
Now I have to finish announcements. All right, so yes, they're going to be great classes. You don't want to miss that. Also, want to remind you that if you are ordering from Amazon, please order from Amazon Smile because Unity gets a little percentage of anything you buy there. And if you are interested in these activities that are coming up, please go to our website, which is unityoforangecounty.org, and we have all of that. On September 15th at 6:30, we are going to have a movie discussion on the movie Heal. So this is on Netflix. We're going to start announcing it now so you have a chance to watch it. This movie will change your life as it comes to healing. You are going to look at the whole idea of healing physically differently when you watch this movie. It just blew me away, this movie. It is movie that everyone should see. And please subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit the like button on YouTube. And if you wish to share a gift with us, you can do so by texting 77977 and put Unity of OC Give. And now I would like to introduce Christopher for our daily word and our meditation.
For Sunday, August 23rd, theme is Inner Peace. The peace of God fills my mind, my heart, and my life. Quiet moments in a fragrant garden, a stroll by a lake or a stream, or a visit to any place of beauty inspires a deep awareness of peace. I also enjoy peace in the company of friends, those with whom I have easy camaraderie and deep bonds. Growing in spiritual awareness, I claim inner peace wherever I am. True inner peace comes from deep within me. If I am feeling less than peaceful, I pause and breathe out worry, fear, and unhealthy concerns. Giving my full attention to the divine presence within me, I breathe in a peace that soothes my emotions, calms my thoughts, and relaxes my body. As I continue to inhale peace and exhale concern, I move forward with renewed clarity and confidence. Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace, and peace because they trust in you. And that's from Isaiah chapter 26, verse number 3. And now I'll ask you to please get comfortable in your seat and just relax for the next 5 minutes, and we'll do a little guided meditation. And when you're ready, just close your eyes gently. And now breathe in and out 3 deep breaths. Inhale the numbers 1, 2, and exhale the numbers 3, 4. And again, inhale 1, 2, and exhale 3, 4. And do that a few times on your own, please. Just double check your feet and make sure they're relaxed. Relax your ankles and your lower legs. Relax your knees and your upper legs. Relax your hips and your waist and your stomach and your back and your chest. Feel your shoulders and your upper arms relax. Relax your lower arms, your hands and your fingers. Relax your neck and your face and your ears and your hair and feel completely relaxed. Now inhale the word peace and exhale the words be still. Inhale peace and exhale be still. And do that on your own a few times, please. If your mind begins to wander, just bring it back to the words peace, be still. If you hear a sound outside of you, your mind will go there, acknowledge it, but bring it right back to peace, be still. We're in the process of training our minds and our bodies to respond to us. We are spirit. We are not our body. We are not our brain. We have a body and we have a brain, but they are here to serve us. They're here to serve others and our planet. So if your mind wanders, just bring it back to peace, be still. If you have an itch, just acknowledge it, but don't scratch it, don't do anything. Allow it to leave of its own accord. Stay perfectly still and at peace and completely relaxed. Inhale the word peace. Exhale the words be still. And continue to do that on your own, please. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes and be back here now.
Thank you, Bill. That was beautiful. Thank you. Well, how you all doing out there? So I don't know about anyone else, but I am just about done with COVID. Anyone else feel that way? You know, back in March when this all happened, I thought, okay, there's this pandemic, but month, 2 months will be over. March came and went, April came and went, May, June, July. Now we're like heading to the end of August, and there doesn't seem to be any end to this. And I don't know about anyone else, but I'm really getting sick and tired of it. And I think most people are. It doesn't matter whether you're stuck in your house or you have children that are learning at school. I was talking to my daughter-in-law in Atlanta, and she has to teach one of my grandkids, and she was joking about it. And I said, well, maybe next year you'll get a new class, because she was complaining about the class this year. So there's all this stuff going on. I have another friend who works out of her house. Her husband's working out of her house. She's got 2 young children. She's got 2 elderly parents that have health challenges. So they're all in this house, and they're all basically quarantined. And these months just go on and on and on. But the good thing is, you have to realize that I know that this will end, because everything ends. You see, there's a time for everything. There's a time for something to be born. There's a time for something to go on. And everything has an ending. And in the Bible, we see that in Ecclesiastics. And it's a very famous verse. And there's actually a popular song that was written with the same verse. Anyway, Ecclesiastic says, for everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. We sure know that right now. A time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. So it really talks about the fact that everything in life changes. But we have this habit of always trying to either hold on to something or to get rid of something. Have you ever noticed that? Usually that's because we think that if we hold on to something long enough, that everything is going to be fine. So we try to get our lives to be based on things that are permanent, where we get obsessed about having a house, or we get obsessed about keeping a relationship or a job, hoping that if we do that, we can keep things from changing. But things cannot stop changing. So Buddhism has this wonderful philosophy of impermanence. And this is a basis of Buddhism, because they understand that everything has a time to be born, a time to not to be born, and that it is in our clinging to keep things permanent that creates all of our suffering. Think about it for a minute. Most suffering happens because we want to hold on to something that we lose, or we want to get rid of something that we can't seem to get rid of. And we spend our time in fear of either losing or keeping something when we don't want to. And so instead of enjoying the moment, we spend our time suffering over the fact that the moment is going to change. And it doesn't matter how old we are. It was very interesting. I was talking to a young man the other day at my other job. He's like 26. And I don't know how we got into the discussion, but somehow got into discussion of death. And I don't know, I said something like, I just don't worry about it. I'm really not afraid of it when it happens. And we all have our time. And he said, really? I said, yeah. I said, because when I was your age, I didn't think I was going to live to be 30. So I figure I'm way ahead of the game. And he said, oh, he says, I worry all the time. And I thought, you're 25 years old. I said, why do you worry so much about dying? And he says, because then I'll cease to exist. And I don't know what's going to be next. And I said, well, you probably won't realize that you don't know what's next because you're not going to be in the same consciousness you're in now. And he just could not get that. And I thought to myself, what a shame that somebody so young is wasting so much energy and thinking about something that the odds are is not going to happen for a while. So the Buddhists have a wonderful way of looking at impermanence, and as a result of that, death. And they have a saying that is always be ready to leave, meaning at any moment it might be the end of our time. And so we are ready by living in the moment. We are ready by living in the now. We are ready by living our lives by making amends if we have something we owe an amends for, or appreciating with gratitude the things that we have that we should be grateful for. And when we're living in the moment and appreciating things as they are, we're not worried about one day it's going to end, or we're not worried about that, trying to get rid of something because we don't want something. No matter how much we worry about COVID and no matter how much we want it to be over, worrying about it is not going to make it over any sooner. So this idea by Buddhists about this impermanence, the Buddhist author said, we resist facing this one unpalatable yet unchangeable truth, that impermanence is the only permanence. So the only thing that we can rely on is the fact that nothing is going to last. And when we understand that, one of the big things that we find we can accept more gracefully is death. Because the Buddhists understand that death is a natural part of living. So there's a parable about a woman, Gautama, and she grew up, she married, she moved into her husband's house, and she was the daughter of a poverty-stricken house. And so one day she had his son, and when he was old enough to play and run, he died. And so she was filled with sorrow, and she thought, oh my God, I birthed this son, and now he's dead. I'm not even going to get any honor because I don't have a child. And she was so wrought by the death of her son that she put her dead son on her hip and she went from house to house asking for medicine. And finally, she saw a wise man, and the wise man said to her that the only person that could give her a solution to her dead son was to find the sage of the 10 forces. So he told her to go to this monastery, and that's where the sage lived. So she went to the monastery and she asked him, she pleaded with him, please tell me what I need to do so that I can bring my son back to life. And the teacher, seeing that she was ripe for a lesson, said, you did well coming to me. Go enter the city, make the rounds of the entire city, beginning at the beginning, and in whatever house no one has died, from that house fetch tiny grains of mustard seeds. Very well, she said, delighted because she thought she was going to find the solution to bring back her dead son to life. So she knocked at the first house and she told them, she said, the sage of the 10 forces bids me to fetch tiny grains of mustard seed from any house that there is no death. And the people said, well, I'm sorry, but we can't give you our mustard seeds because someone in this house has died. So she said, okay, well, I'm just going to go on to the next house. So house by house she went to. And in every house she went to, she could not get a mustard seed because in every house that she went to, someone had died. And so she was overcome with emotion. And so she went outside and she realized that everyone has death in the family. Everyone has death in their life. And so she took her baby and she took it to the burying ground and she said a little prayer. She said, "Dear son, I thought that you alone had been overtaken by this thing which men call death. But you are not the only one death has overtaken. This is a law common to all mankind." So saying, she cast her son away in the burning ground. And then she uttered this: "No village law, no law of market town, no law of a single house is this. Of all the world and all the world of God's, there is only this law, that all things are impermanent." And so when we understand that, we can deal with loss and we can deal with the fact that things sometimes come to an end, but they don't necessarily happen in our time. You know, we have this idea of time frames. We put everything in time frames. You know, we want to stay in this job for a long time, or we want something permanent. And there's a friend I know who went on a job interview, and she was having the job interview, and I forget the question the person asked, like, you know, well, what are you looking for in a job? And she said, well, I want a job that's permanent. And the interviewer says, well, there is no permanent job, but there is a full-time job. See, there's no permanent job. So she had told me this story, so I kind of learned this lesson. And when I came for my interview at this church, someone had asked me, there was a question and answer with the congregation, and someone had asked me, and I think they had asked me this question because of my age, because it was obvious I wasn't 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. Six, anyway. So they asked me, they said, well, how long are you going to stay at this job? Thinking, well, you know, maybe we don't want to hire someone your age because you may not stay that long. And I said, well, I'm going to stay at this job as long as God wants me to be at this job. You know, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees how long I'm going to stay here. There's no guarantee how long the church is going to be here. But I will stay here as long as it is God's will for me to stay here. And that was 5 years ago. So this idea of we want a guarantee with things. We want things to last the length of time that we want it to last. I was talking about this earlier. So when I was in ministerial school, we had a retreat center. And we were trying to sell it. And I thought that the time that we should sell it was while I was in Kansas City, because I was in Kansas City and Christopher and my pets were in Florida, and I thought it was the perfect time. So we put it for sale, and I prayed about it. I called Silent Unity. I thought about putting one of the saints you put in the ground upside down. I forget which saint it is. A friend told me that. I had people praying over the property. I had Krishnas. We were chanting. We were burning incense. We were doing everything. Now I'm at Unity Village, and I'm praying at Silent Unity, and I cannot figure out why we cannot sell this property. And I was in one of the chapels, and I was talking to a friend, and I said, I don't understand why we can't sell this. We need to get rid of this. You know, this is a burden on us. It's a burden physically, it's a burden emotionally, it's a burden financially, and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, and we're not selling it. And I said, what about the law of mind action? You know, I said, I'm thinking positive thoughts. I'm denying negative thoughts. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. And he said, well, there's the law of mind action, but there is a greater law. And that is the law of the will of God and the grace of God. And the timing is always the timing that it needs to be according to God's will, not according to our will. You see, there's this greater universal law, and so things happen at the right and perfect time. It doesn't help sometimes when we're going through something difficult, but it's important to know that. So the Hindus believe that there's three aspects of God. There's the God the creator, God the maintainer, and God the destroyer. Everything on this earth has a time to be born, a time to live, and a time to die. The trees, the grass, everything Everything has its time. And yet we as human beings think that we are greater than this law, that we are greater than this idea of impermanence. This idea of impermanence, Somerset Maugham said, "Nothing in the world is permanent. We are foolish when we ask anything to last. But surely we are more foolish not to delight when it lasts." So we complain that things don't last long enough, and we complain that other things last too long. And so what happens is we find ourselves in the middle, not even appreciating what we have. So we want things to stay exactly as they are. But here is 5 ways that we can learn to live our life based on the impermanence of life. The first is to accept that impermanence is normal. You know, COVID-19 has brought together home to us the idea of the fickleness of us as human beings to think we can make any plans. You know, there was that saying years ago, the best laid plans of mice and men oft go astray. So all these plans that everybody had went out the window when COVID came. People lost jobs, travel got postponed. We were supposed to be going to Paris next month. All kinds of things got changed. People died, people got sick, people were separated. Grandparents don't get to see their grandkids. You know, there's so many things, but we have to be patient and know that just as the COVID came, one day the COVID will leave. The second one is sharing and letting go. You know, this living a legacy is a great way to go and share some stuff. When we share things, when we talk to people, when we express our emotions, when we go and we show how we're feeling to others, it makes it easy for us than holding it in. When we hold things in, it never benefits us. So it's important to share with other people. And if you can't do it in person, you can do it on Zoom. But the important thing is to let that stuff out and to share it with someone. The third is to find opportunity in impermanence. The Rumi said, live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. So if we look at every situation, whether it is something good or something negative, as having a hidden opportunity for us to learn something and to grow, we can convert our ups and downs and serve others and find meaning in our life. You know, the Chinese say that the Chinese letter for opportunity is positive and negative. Everything that happens can be for the good. And the fourth is to be thankful every day. We have to be thankful for the things we have. If we're not thankful for what we have, then we don't appreciate it. And then when it's gone, we go, oh, gee, I wish I had appreciated when I had it. Does that ever happen to you? You have something and you don't appreciate it, and then all of a sudden you lose it and you go, I wish I had it. I wish I had that. So we have to learn to be thankful. So one day I was talking to a friend of mine who had a lot of life issues, but she always seemed to be relaxed. No matter what was going on in her life, she always seemed to be relaxed. And I asked her about that. I said, you have so many things going on in your life. How come you always seem so positive and relaxed? And she said, I get up every morning and say thank you. Every morning when you get up and you say thank you, just for the opportunity to have another day. When we are thankful every day, we get to appreciate the things that we have. And then 5 is to treat life as finite. Ram Dass says, death is not an error. It is not a failure. It is taking off a tight shoe. So when we realize that death is part of life, we realize that we don't hold on so tight to life. Thich Nhat Hanh said, impermanence does not necessarily lead to suffering. What makes us suffering is wanting things to be permanent when they are not. So everything, including innate items, has a time to it. You know, Jesus told us not to put our treasures in things that rot and mold, because everything has a time for its ending. And this idea of impermanence is important to remember because it kind of goes with that, this too shall pass. So if you're getting worked up about COVID and the fact that it is going on and on and on, you're one of many. Just keep telling yourself, this too shall pass. This too began, this too will end. It has to be that way because everything in the universe is that way. And when you do that, you will find that life has so many gifts for you. There's so many opportunities in life to learn and to grow and to express yourself and to be all that you were meant to be. And whatever time you have on this earth, use it wisely because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and take a few deep breaths. And ask yourself this: how is your now? How is this moment in time, right now? Not what happened 5 minutes ago. Not what's going to happen 10 minutes from now. But how are things now? When you go to the now, when you go to the breath, when you go to that moment, that sanctity in time, everything is okay. Everything is exactly as it should be. There are no mistakes in the divine order of the universe. This divine order that permeates everything, every living thing, every innate thing, has a wisdom within it that is beyond anything that we can comprehend. It is a grace that may not always seem like it is grace. And it is a wisdom that knows better than we do when things should begin, when things should continue, and when things should end. And so whenever you're feeling frustrated, whenever you're concerned, whenever something you don't want is dragging on, or something you want has ended, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and be grateful for this moment in time, which is the only moment that we are guaranteed. And for that moment, we say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Here at Unity, we have 5 basic principles, and we like to review them each week. And so the first one is God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. And 2 is I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. And 3, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. And 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And 5, I do and give my best by living the truth that I know I make a difference. And before we go into what we usually go into, the giving, I just want to, this quote is another quote from this book. I love this. This is what the horse tells the little boy. Life is difficult, but you are loved. So the book has so many of those wonderful little things. So we do believe in the law of giving and receiving here, and we are grateful for your gifts. There are many ways that you can give your gifts. You can give them through our website, unityoforangecounty.org. You can give them by texting 77977 Unity of OC Give. You can give it on our app. And you can mail it in to us, and our address is on our website. Any way that you give, we truly appreciate it. It helps us to be here every week and to bring these messages to you. And so we hope that you will join us next week. And in the meantime, have a great week. And we love to close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you. Have a wonderful week, and be safe.